Have you ever wondered why some people seem to achieve everything they set their minds to, while others struggle despite having the same talent, opportunities, or resources? The secret isn't luck nor intelligence, it's self-discipline. The power of self-discipline is the invisible force that separates dreamers from achievers. In the next few minutes, you'll discover how to harness this power, how to train your mind and habits, and how to become unstoppable in every area of your life. Imagine unlocking a version of yourself so focused, determined, and consistent that success no longer feels like a hope, but an inevitability. Self-discipline begins with understanding that every choice you make has a ripple effect. Small actions, repeated daily, shape your destiny. Waking up early, saying no to distractions, pushing through discomfort. These aren't punishments. They are the building blocks of a life lived intentionally. The most successful people in history, athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, did not wait for motivation to strike. They created it. They built routines and systems that made success inevitable. And the good news, you can do the same. It doesn't require talent, luck, or permission from anyone else. It requires commitment to yourself. One of the biggest myths about self-discipline is that it means harsh self-control or depriving yourself of joy. In reality, self-discipline is about alignment, aligning your actions with your deepest values and long-term goals. When you decide that your health, wealth, relationships, or personal growth matter more than temporary comforts, self-discipline becomes a natural choice, not a struggle. It's like training a muscle. The more consistently you practice, the stronger it becomes. Each small victory, every moment you resist instant gratification for long-term gain, compounds into unstoppable momentum. But here's a truth that most people ignore. Self-discipline is not just about doing more or working harder. It's about becoming the person who can naturally make the right decisions, even when life gets chaotic. It's about rewiring your brain to crave what truly benefits you, rather than what merely feels good in the moment. And the most powerful part, once you master this, no external obstacle, no setback, no distraction, no doubt, can derail your progress. You become the captain of your life, steering with clarity, courage, and conviction. So how do you build this life-changing power? Start with your mornings. Own your first hour. Read, reflect, plan, move. Then take control of your environment, remove temptations, create triggers for positive habits, and surround yourself with people who inspire your best self. Next, commit to consistency over intensity. Small, smart, repeated actions beat occasional bursts of effort every time. Track your progress, celebrate small wins, and remember that failure isn't the enemy, it's feedback. Every time you stumble and rise again, your self-discipline grows stronger. In the end, self-discipline is not a punishment, it's liberation. It frees you from procrastination, from indecision, from the endless cycle of chasing fleeting motivation. It gives you the power to shape your own future. When you commit to building self-discipline today, you are investing in a life of freedom, achievement, and purpose. Remember, the power isn't in waiting for the right moment. It's in taking control of this moment. Every choice, every habit, every disciplined action moves you closer to the life you've always imagined. Your future self will thank you, and your potential will finally meet reality. Success is not a product of luck or talent alone. It is the result of intentional, disciplined action, repeated consistently over time. Imagine standing at the edge of a river, looking across at the life you desire, a life filled with purpose, achievement, and fulfillment. The river may appear wide, even impossible to cross, but self-discipline is the bridge that allows you to reach the other side. It is the invisible structure holding you steady, supporting each step as you move forward, even when the currents of distraction, fear, and uncertainty threaten to pull you back. Without this bridge, goals remain distant dreams, ideas remain trapped in your mind, and potential remains untapped. Every major achievement in history can be traced back to a person who mastered their impulses, who chose the path of discipline over comfort, who understood that small, consistent actions compound into extraordinary results. Self-discipline is the silent engine behind every success story. It is the ability to say no to what is easy or tempting today, in favor of what will benefit you tomorrow. It is the strength to keep moving forward when motivation fades, when fatigue sets in, when doubt whispers that your efforts are in vain. This power does not come naturally to everyone, but it can be cultivated. Each decision you make, each action you take, strengthens this bridge. The more consistently you practice self-discipline, the more resilient, confident, and capable you become. Think about the choices you make daily. Each one may seem insignificant on its own. A 5-minute delay in getting out of bed, a snack you didn't need, a moment spent scrolling on your phone. But over time, these choices shape your life. Self-discipline is the ability to take control of these moments, to align your actions with your long-term goals, rather than giving in to immediate gratification. It is about being the master of your time, energy, and focus. When you cultivate this skill, you begin to act not out of reaction or impulse, but from deliberate intention. You begin to move with purpose, and each step brings you closer to the life you envisioned. The bridge of self-discipline is built one plank at a time. Each task you complete, each challenge you overcome, each moment you resist distraction, adds strength to the structure. Early mornings spent planning your day, hours dedicated to skill development, moments of quiet reflection. All of these are planks that make the bridge stronger. With every step forward, you feel more secure, more capable of handling obstacles, more confident in your ability to achieve what once seemed impossible. Over time, the bridge becomes so solid that setbacks, failures, and external pressures cannot shake you. You develop an inner stability that allows you to navigate life's uncertainties with clarity and resilience. Self-discipline also transforms how you perceive challenges. Instead of seeing them as obstacles, you begin to see them as opportunities to practice control, patience, and perseverance. Each difficulty is a chance to reinforce the bridge, to strengthen the connection between where you are now and where you want to be. When temptation arises, when distractions call, or when fatigue threatens to stop you, self-discipline allows you to stay the course. It trains your mind to prioritize long-term gain over short-term comfort, turning discomfort into a tool for growth rather than a source of avoidance. Perhaps most importantly, self-discipline shifts your identity. When you consistently make choices aligned with your goals, you begin to see yourself as someone who is capable, determined, and reliable. Your actions reinforce your self-perception, and your self-perception reinforces your actions. This creates a positive feedback loop that accelerates your progress and strengthens your sense of agency. You no longer wait for circumstances to change or for motivation to appear. Instead, you take deliberate steps every day, building momentum that propels you forward. Self-discipline is not a restriction, it is a liberation. It allows you to cross the river of uncertainty and reach the life you desire, plank by plank, decision by decision, step by step. Each time you choose to act intentionally, each time you resist what is easy in favor of what is meaningful, the bridge grows stronger. And when you finally look back, you realize that the life you once thought was distant and unattainable was always within your reach. It simply required the courage, consistency, and commitment to take control of your actions and build the bridge that leads to it. True success rarely arrives in a single, dramatic leap. It is not the result of one extraordinary decision or one perfect moment of inspiration. Instead, it is built quietly, steadily, through small actions repeated consistently over time. These small actions may seem insignificant in isolation. A few extra minutes of focus on a task, a single disciplined choice to eat well, a short period dedicated to learning or reflection. But their effects accumulate, like drops of water wearing away stone or seeds, slowly growing into a towering tree. The power of self-discipline is revealed most clearly in the way these tiny, seemingly mundane actions compound into massive, life-changing results. Imagine two people who share the same dream. One believes success comes from grand gestures, relying on motivation or luck to carry them forward. The other understands that progress comes from persistent effort, day after day. At first, their paths may appear similar, but over months and years, the results diverge dramatically. Each small choice, each disciplined action taken consistently, builds momentum. The person who embraces consistency is no longer dependent on fleeting inspiration. They have created a system where success becomes inevitable, almost automatic. Every small action is a brick in the foundation of a life lived with purpose, and over time, these bricks form a structure so solid that no obstacle can easily shake it. Consistency in small actions cultivates more than just tangible results. It shapes character. Each time you choose to act in alignment with your goals rather than giving in to comfort or distraction, you strengthen your self-control and resilience. You train your mind to focus on what matters most, even when external circumstances are chaotic or discouraging. Small, repeated victories build confidence, teaching you that you are capable of more than you once believed. This is the quiet power of compounding effort. It doesn't just change your outcomes, it changes you. You become the person capable of achieving extraordinary things long before the results themselves appear. One of the most common mistakes people make is underestimating the impact of small, consistent actions. They wait for motivation, waiting for the perfect moment, or they focus solely on the big, dramatic steps, neglecting the small routines that actually move the needle. But the truth is that the accumulation of tiny, daily choices often determines the difference between ordinary and exceptional. A few minutes of reading each day might seem trivial, but over a year, it adds up to dozens of books and an enormous expansion of knowledge. Choosing to take a short walk every day may seem inconsequential, but in time it transforms physical health, energy levels, and mental clarity. The compounding effect of these small actions is the engine of extraordinary achievement. Discipline is the mechanism that allows small actions to compound. Without consistency, even the best efforts fade quickly. It is not enough to occasionally practice good habits. True self-discipline requires persistence, repetition, and attention to detail. When you commit to small actions daily, you begin to experience the snowball effect. Each success, no matter how minor, feeds into the next. Confidence grows, motivation strengthens, and the ability to make wise choices in other areas of life multiplies. Small actions reinforce one another, creating a chain reaction that propels you forward faster than any single heroic effort ever could. Another element of this compounding effect is patience. Progress may not be visible immediately, and results often appear long after the effort is invested. This is where many people give up. They expect instant gratification, failing to recognize that true transformation takes time. The individual who embraces small, consistent actions understands that the greatest rewards are earned through steady, deliberate effort. They are willing to wait, to trust the process, and to keep building even when results seem distant. In this way, self-discipline becomes both a strategy and a mindset, allowing them to stay focused, committed, and resilient in the pursuit of long-term success. Every major achievement, every notable success story is built on this principle. The great thinkers, leaders, athletes, and creators of our time did not reach the pinnacle of their fields overnight. They mastered the art of small, consistent actions, investing time in practice, learning, reflection, and incremental improvement. These seemingly minor choices, compounded over months and years, created results that appear almost miraculous to the outside world. The power of self-discipline lies not in a single heroic effort, but in the patience, consistency, and dedication to small actions that ultimately define your life. Your environment is far more influential than you might imagine. It quietly shapes your thoughts, decisions, and ultimately, the trajectory of your life. Every person you interact with, every object you see, every space you occupy sends signals to your brain about what is possible, what is normal, and what is expected of you. Self-discipline is not just an internal struggle, it is a skill that interacts with the world around you. When you understand this, you realize that mastering your environment is one of the most powerful ways to master your habits and, by extension, your life. The people you surround yourself with act as mirrors and amplifiers of your behavior. If you spend time with those who are driven, disciplined, and focused, their habits and mindset naturally influence you. Their energy pushes you to act consistently, to strive for more, to take responsibility for your choices. Conversely, if your environment is filled with negativity, procrastination, or distractions, it can quietly erode your willpower. This is why one of the first steps in building self-discipline is examining the company you keep and seeking out relationships that elevate your potential. Surround yourself with people who reflect the best version of yourself, and you will find it easier to make disciplined choices consistently. Your physical environment is equally critical. The spaces you inhabit send subtle messages to your brain about priorities and behavior. A chaotic workspace fosters distraction and indecision, while an organized, intentional space encourages focus and productivity. Small adjustments, removing temptations, arranging your workspace to support concentration, and creating visual reminders of your goals can dramatically improve your ability to act in alignment with your long-term objectives. When your environment supports your intentions, self-discipline becomes less about constant struggle and more about natural, effortless action. Technology and media are also powerful forces shaping your habits. Every notification, social media feed, or endless stream of content competes for your attention, often in ways that undermine discipline. To master your environment, you must actively control these influences. This could mean setting boundaries for screen time, curating the content you consume, or creating intentional rituals that limit exposure to distractions. By taking control of the digital landscape around you, you reclaim mental space, energy, and focus, allowing you to dedicate your resources to what truly matters. Creating triggers and cues for positive habits is another strategy that leverages your environment to strengthen self-discipline. For example, leaving your workout clothes where you can see them, placing a book on your pillow to encourage reading before bed, or scheduling your tasks in a visible planner are simple yet powerful ways to make disciplined behavior the default choice. When your environment reminds you to act, you rely less on willpower and more on structure. Over time, this creates automatic, consistent behaviors that require less conscious effort, turning self-discipline from a battle into a habit. Even subtle environmental changes can have profound effects. Light, color, sound, and even the temperature of a room can influence focus, mood, and energy levels. Paying attention to these details is not indulgent, it is strategic. By creating conditions that naturally support your best self, you reduce the friction between intention and action. You create an ecosystem that makes it easier to stay consistent, resist temptation, and act in alignment with your goals. This is the essence of mastering your environment, shaping every aspect of the world around you to serve your long-term vision rather than undermine it. Perhaps the most transformative aspect of mastering your environment is the sense of empowerment it brings. Once you realize that your surroundings are not neutral but actively influencing your behavior, you take control. You become intentional about what you expose yourself to, who you spend time with, and how you structure your daily life. This intentionality compounds your ability to act consistently, making self-discipline not just a personal struggle, but a system of support that works for you. The environment that once dictated your behavior now amplifies your willpower, reinforces your habits, and accelerates your progress. The reality is that self-discipline is not exercised in a vacuum. It is intimately connected to the world around you. By mastering your environment, you set yourself up for success before the first moment of temptation arises. The right people, spaces, triggers, and boundaries create a framework that makes disciplined action easier, more natural, and more consistent. When your surroundings align with your goals, the path forward becomes clear. Every step toward your dreams is reinforced, every decision to act in your best interest becomes simpler, and every habit you cultivate gains strength and momentum. Master your environment, and you master the conditions that allow self-discipline to flourish. Every choice you make has consequences, some immediate, some delayed, and the ability to delay gratification is one of the most powerful skills a person can develop. Life is full of moments that tempt you to choose comfort over growth, ease over effort, and short-term pleasure over long-term benefit. Yet those who achieve greatness understand a simple truth: the rewards worth having are rarely immediate. True success, lasting health, meaningful relationships, and financial freedom require the ability to resist momentary indulgence and invest in the future. This is the essence of self-discipline, and it is the cornerstone of every achievement. Imagine standing in front of a delicious dessert, a warm, inviting treat calling your name. The temptation to indulge is strong, immediate, and emotionally gratifying. Giving in feels effortless and satisfying in the moment, but the consequences may affect your health, your energy, or your sense of accomplishment. Now imagine choosing a different path, resisting the instant reward, perhaps eating something healthier, or even abstaining entirely. The satisfaction in that moment may be less vivid, but the long-term benefit, greater health, control, and confidence, is far more powerful. This principle extends far beyond diet. It touches every area of life. Every time you choose delayed gratification, you are training your mind, strengthening your willpower, and creating a foundation for sustained achievement. The ability to delay gratification transforms the way you approach goals. It allows you to prioritize long-term gain over fleeting pleasure, to invest effort today for results tomorrow, and to build a life of stability and abundance. Those who cannot delay gratification often find themselves caught in cycles of distraction, impulsivity, and regret. They pursue what feels good in the present, but sacrifice the opportunities and outcomes that could transform their future. In contrast, individuals who master this skill create a compounding effect. Their choices accumulate over time, creating momentum that carries them closer to their aspirations with every decision. Self-discipline in delaying gratification is not about denying yourself enjoyment entirely. It is about aligning your actions with your values and goals. It is about recognizing which impulses are productive and which are destructive, and making conscious choices that serve your long-term vision. This requires awareness, mindfulness, and practice. It is easy to give in when temptation is immediate and the consequences are distant, but every successful person has learned to pause, evaluate, and act in alignment with their higher purpose. Each act of delayed gratification strengthens their mental resilience and reinforces the belief that they are capable of controlling their impulses rather than being controlled by them. The compounding effect of delayed gratification becomes most apparent over time. A person who saves a small portion of their income consistently, rather than spending impulsively, will experience financial growth that surprises them years later. Someone who practices daily discipline in learning or skill building, instead of seeking immediate entertainment, will develop expertise that sets them apart. Even in relationships, the ability to invest patience, understanding, and effort rather than reacting impulsively leads to deeper connections and long-term fulfillment. Each act of restraint multiplies, reinforcing positive habits and producing results that far exceed any temporary pleasure sacrificed. Delayed gratification also strengthens your sense of agency. It teaches you that you are in control of your choices, your behavior, and ultimately, your destiny. Every time you resist temptation, you demonstrate to yourself that you are not at the mercy of impulses or circumstance. This builds confidence, self-respect, and a sense of empowerment that fuels further disciplined action. The more you practice this skill, the easier it becomes, until resisting immediate gratification becomes almost instinctive, a natural extension of your commitment to long-term success. Perhaps most importantly, the ability to delay gratification rewires your mind. It trains your brain to value meaningful, lasting rewards over fleeting pleasure. You begin to crave what benefits you most, rather than what merely feels good in the moment. This mental shift changes the very way you experience life, Obstacles become challenges to overcome rather than temptations to avoid. Discomfort becomes a stepping stone to growth, and every decision becomes an opportunity to strengthen your character and accelerate your progress. The discipline to delay gratification is not merely a tactic. It is a transformative mindset that underpins every area of achievement. Those who embrace this principle discover a freedom unlike any other. By choosing long-term gain over instant pleasure, they unlock the potential to create a life of abundance, purpose, and fulfillment. Every decision to delay gratification reinforces their self-discipline, enhances their focus, and compounds into success that far exceeds anything achievable through short-term thinking. The ability to act with patience and foresight becomes a defining trait, a skill that sets the stage for every accomplishment and shapes the trajectory of their life in profound, lasting ways. Motivation is powerful, but it is fleeting. It comes and goes like waves, often arriving when circumstances are favorable and vanishing when challenges arise. Relying solely on motivation is like trying to navigate a stormy sea with a fragile sail. It will carry you forward only when the wind is favorable. True progress, the kind that transforms dreams into reality, depends not on motivation, but on consistency. Consistency is the steady engine that keeps you moving forward, even when the excitement fades, even when the initial spark of enthusiasm has burned out. It is the daily practice, the repeated actions, the disciplined commitment to showing up that separates those who achieve their goals from those who merely hope. Every successful person has experienced the cycle of fluctuating motivation. There are days when energy is high, when inspiration flows freely, when the world seems to align perfectly with your intentions. On these days, progress feels effortless, and the temptation to measure success by motivation alone is strong. But it is precisely on the days when motivation is low, when fatigue sets in, when obstacles loom large, that consistency proves its true power. The person who persists through these moments, who shows up and takes action regardless of how they feel, builds momentum that motivation alone can never achieve. Consistency is not glamorous. It does not demand dramatic gestures or bursts of brilliance. It is the quiet, persistent commitment to your goals, repeated day after day, that compounds into extraordinary results. Waking up early to work on your craft, dedicating time to learning, following through on small promises, maintaining habits even when no one is watching. These are the acts that create lasting change. They may seem ordinary in isolation, but their cumulative effect over weeks, months, and years is transformative. Consistency is the slow, burning fire that ignites long-term achievement, and it cannot be replaced by fleeting excitement or occasional bursts of effort. The beauty of consistency is that it builds trust, both in yourself and in your capabilities. Each time you show up, each time you follow through, you reinforce the belief that you are reliable, disciplined, and capable of achieving what you set out to do. This trust fuels further action. You begin to see yourself as someone who honors their commitments, someone who can overcome challenges, someone who does not rely on circumstances to determine outcomes. Motivation may inspire you to start, but consistency ensures that you finish, that you persevere, that you reach the level of mastery that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Another powerful aspect of consistency is its ability to transform challenges into opportunities. Life is unpredictable, and obstacles are inevitable. Motivation may falter in the face of adversity, but consistency creates resilience. By committing to repeated action, regardless of conditions, you develop a capacity to endure setbacks, adapt to change, and keep moving forward. Challenges no longer feel like insurmountable barriers. They become part of the process, integral to the growth that comes from persistent effort. Consistency trains your mind to respond with determination rather than frustration, with action rather than avoidance, with focus rather than distraction. Consistency also compounds in ways that motivation cannot. Small, repeated actions accumulate over time, producing results that are disproportionate to the effort expended in any single moment. Writing a page every day, exercising for a few minutes consistently, learning a new skill step by step. These actions may seem minor at the time, but over months and years, they lead to mastery, achievement, and transformation. Motivation may inspire a single push, but consistency ensures that progress continues, even when the initial excitement has faded. This compounding effect is what turns ordinary habits into extraordinary results, and it is the foundation upon which all lasting success is built. The most important lesson about consistency is that it is not dependent on perfection or enthusiasm. You do not need to feel motivated every day to make meaningful progress. You do not need to have flawless execution or constant inspiration. All that is required is the commitment to show up, to act, and to maintain momentum, even imperfectly. The cumulative impact of these consistent actions far outweighs any temporary bursts of effort fueled by fleeting motivation. Over time, this approach transforms not only your results, but your identity. You become someone who acts deliberately, who perseveres through difficulty, who creates change through steady, intentional effort rather than waiting for circumstances to be perfect. Consistency is the silent force behind every success story. It is the reason ordinary people achieve extraordinary results, the reason talent alone often fails, and the reason those who persevere outperform those who rely solely on inspiration. Motivation may start the journey, but consistency carries you all the way, turning ambition into accomplishment, dreams into reality, and potential into proven achievement. Many people misunderstand the nature of discipline. They think of it as restriction, as a set of rules that limits freedom and forces sacrifice. In reality, self-discipline is the very gateway to true freedom. It is the ability to control your impulses, to prioritize long-term benefits over short-term comfort, and to act in alignment with your values and goals. This control does not confine you, it liberates you. By mastering yourself, you gain the ability to shape your life, your actions, and your destiny in ways that are impossible for someone who reacts impulsively or is governed solely by external circumstances. Imagine a person who has no self-discipline. Their day is dictated by distractions, cravings, and immediate gratification. They drift through life, responding to every temptation, reacting to every setback, and constantly struggling against their own impulses. Their choices are constrained, not by physical chains, but by internal chaos. They are prisoners of habit, desire, and circumstance, unable to direct their energy toward meaningful achievement. In contrast, someone with self-discipline is free from these invisible chains. They have the power to decide how to spend their time, how to allocate their energy, and which opportunities to pursue. Each choice is deliberate, intentional, and aligned with their long-term vision. Self-discipline creates freedom by providing structure. At first, structure may seem restrictive, but its purpose is to establish a reliable framework for your life. When you develop routines, maintain consistent habits, and act with intentionality, you reduce uncertainty and eliminate wasted effort. Decisions that once drained mental energy become automatic, freeing your mind to focus on creativity, growth, and innovation. With discipline, you no longer feel pulled in 1,000 directions by impulses or distractions. Instead, you operate from a position of control, choosing actions that serve your goals and investing in the life you truly desire. Financial freedom is one of the clearest examples of the liberating power of self-discipline. A person who manages their spending, invests consistently, and plans for the future may sacrifice some short-term pleasures, but over time, they gain independence from financial stress, uncertainty, and dependence on external forces. This kind of freedom allows them to make choices based on preference rather than necessity, to pursue opportunities without fear, and to live life on their own terms. Self-discipline in money management, much like in other areas, compounds over time, creating opportunities and autonomy that those without discipline cannot access. Self-discipline also liberates the mind. It allows you to resist the pull of negative thoughts, procrastination, and limiting beliefs. When you practice self-control and deliberate action, you cultivate confidence in your ability to handle challenges, to learn new skills, and to grow beyond your current limitations. You are no longer hostage to fear, indecision, or external pressures. Each act of discipline strengthens your mental resilience and reinforces your belief that you are capable of achieving what you set out to do. With a disciplined mind, choices become opportunities rather than burdens, and obstacles become stepping stones rather than barriers. Relationships, too, benefit from self-discipline. Emotional discipline allows you to respond thoughtfully, rather than react impulsively, to communicate with clarity and patience, and to invest consistently in those you care about. When your actions are guided by intentionality, rather than fleeting emotion, your relationships deepen, trust strengthens, and unnecessary conflicts are avoided. This freedom from reactive behavior not only improves connections with others, but also frees your energy for growth, creativity, and meaningful contribution. Perhaps the most profound way self-discipline leads to freedom is by giving you control over your future. Life is unpredictable, and external circumstances will always challenge you. Motivation will ebb and flow. Opportunities will arise and disappear. Without discipline, you are at the mercy of chance, circumstance, and emotion. With discipline, you create consistency, build habits, and accumulate incremental progress. You gain the freedom to respond to challenges strategically, to invest in your growth deliberately, and to pursue long-term success with confidence. This is not a theoretical kind of freedom. It is practical, tangible, and life-changing. True freedom is not the absence of responsibility, it is the mastery of responsibility. Self-discipline empowers you to take full ownership of your actions, choices, and outcomes. It allows you to break free from cycles of procrastination, distraction, and regret. It creates the conditions under which your potential can be fully realized, and your life can be directed with clarity, purpose, and control. Each act of discipline, each choice to act in alignment with your values, builds a life of autonomy and empowerment that cannot be taken away. The paradox is simple yet profound. The more disciplined you are, the freer you become, and the more you can live the life you were truly meant to lead.